Hi, it's time again for me to share with you a devotional thought for the middle of the week. I trust your week is going well. In fact, I'm thankful that so much is going well in our church, in our school, and all of our ministries. It's very exciting. Over the years, I've spent a lot of time with messages and counseling, trying to encourage people when they go through hard times. Each one of us faces hard times from time to time, and I believe God can encourage us and we can become encouraged through the Word of God. In fact, many times God uses the hard times in our lives, the times of distress and poverty and things that come that are very hard, sickness, even death of loved ones, to really strengthen us when we turn to Him and get back into His words. However, I think often the opposite is even a bigger problem many times. Paul said in Philippians chapter 4, verse 12, I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Many times as Christians, when things go wrong, we know how to be abased. We know how to go to the Word of God. We trust the Word of God. We lean upon the Word of God. Other Christians encourage us, and that's as it ought to be. But how do we respond to blessings? How do we respond to prosperity? How do we respond to victory? Just this week in the mail, I received a letter from a former member of our church a number of years ago who had fallen on hard times when she was here. In fact, in the letter she wrote, she thanked us as a church for helping her a couple times when things were really bad and we helped with a bill or two. She wrote and said that she is now married and doing great, serving the Lord faithfully with her husband in another place, in another church. I was so thankful. But in that time, since then, apparently they've become somewhat prosperous, and she enclosed with that letter of thanks a very large check to the church. What a blessing it is. Now, how do we handle prosperity? I think she perhaps was handling it properly in returning to the church that had helped her so much. It was here that she was saved. The church that had helped her so much, returning a gift to this church. But there's a danger after we have great victories. I could go through the Bible and remind you of many. Let me just think through for a moment. Do you remember the children of Israel after the great battle of Jericho? They had just had a victory and they crossed the Jordan River into the promised land. They came to the first great city, a walled city, that they were to fight, they were to have victory over, and God gave them that wonderful victory. Walk around the city every day, then on the seventh day walk around 7 times, and then shout. That was the victory shout before the victory, and God gave them a great victory. What a wonderful story that is. And how did they handle it after victory? If you look at the next chapter in the book of Joshua, you will see that they went without asking the Lord and fought another battle against another city, a smaller city. In fact, they said, we don't need everybody to go here. Just take a handful. 3,000 of us can go and whip these people. And they were defeated. How do we respond after a great victory? Often we respond by going in our own strength. I think of King Solomon. Not long ago we were discussing in a message his life and his turning away from the Lord because he turned to those women that he loved so much and turned to false gods, went to their gods. After great victory, after God gave him great wisdom and a great time of ruling and reigning in peace, he turned away from God. I think of Elijah, that wonderful prophet who had a great victory when he went up against 450 false prophets, and he challenged them in the name of the Lord. And they up and down shouted and got no answers from God, and he got an answer from God, fire from heaven, and then he slew the 450 false prophets. A wonderful, great victory. But the next chapter, do you remember what happened? He was threatened by the queen, Queen Jezebel. And you know what he did? Instead of saying, listen, I serve the God who gives great victory, he ran off. He hid. He became discouraged. He even asked God to take his life. After great victory, we can have great discouragement. How do you handle great victory? I want to remind you of three things very quickly. Number one, be grateful for great victories. Be grateful for prosperity. Be grateful for successes God gives us. But don't forget rather, who gave them to us. We didn't get victory on our own. God gave us the victory. We didn't become prosperous on our own, have success on our own. God gave us that. God blessed us that way. Let's remember where that came from. And then, as we make decisions to go forward, don't go forward in our own strength. That was the problem after Jericho. That was the problem with Elijah, going on their own strength. We don't have any strength. Let's learn, as Paul said, how to be abased. Maybe we know that. Also, how to abound. May God bless you richly today and give you all the good things that he has for you and not spoil you. Remember where it came from and be thankful. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.